Welcome to June Yin. So for today's class, you're going to need a few props, a couple of blocks, and a blanket. If you don't have a blanket, a bolster or a pillow will do. We're going to begin the class standing, and each of these poses are going to be held for a couple of minutes. Some a little longer, some a little shorter, and you'll see why when we get there. In the background, I have a Tibetan bell ringing, which will ring every minute. So that'll give you and me a little bit of knowledge as to where we are and how much longer we have to hold the pose. So start standing. We're going to do our forward fold from here. So on an inhale, just reach out, reach way up. And on the exhale, we're just gonna ragdoll down. Just let it go really slowly. Tuck your head, let the shoulders round. Bring it all the way down and just hang out. 2 minutes here. So blocks can be handy here if you need them. You can just let the shoulders hang and just let the weight of your arms kind of release your shoulder joints here. Another option is to hang on to your elbows. Keep the knees soft. Start to tune into your breath. Really nice stretch for the low back, kind of a traction type thing. And okay to really bend your knees a lot if you need it. Or if you want a little more in the hamstrings, straighten the legs just a little bit more. Allow the head to be nice and heavy. So nod yes to this calming yoga routine. Nod no to any stress you might feel. Just allow any stress. Picture it rolling off your back. 1 more minute here. You can also rest your hands on your blocks or a block. And as you stay here, you'll notice you can get a little deeper. Think about lifting the tail a little bit, dropping the heart. Just really letting it go here. Maybe turning your torso a little bit to the right. Then coming center, maybe going a little bit to the left. Make sure you can wiggle your toes. Just kind of notice your feet. Try to keep the weight in your feet even. So press into that big toe a little bit. Press into the little toe mound a little bit. And then release your hands. From here, we're just going to simply go all the way down to the mat. So just come to kneeling. And a few rounds of cat-cow. So on the inhale, pull your heart through, lift and arch. On the exhale, round it up. Inhale to cow. Exhale to cat. Inhale to cow. And then take cat. And then just take wild thing a little bit. Just kind of do what feels good. Maybe circle around a little bit. Maybe involve your head and neck a bit. Circling one way, then the other. Just make sure that your low back feels good and that you're ready for the next pose, which is pigeon pose. We're going to pull the right knee forward, drawing the foot as far forward as your body allows. Lengthen that left leg. Keep your blocks handy, you might need them. And then from here, you can either just stay right here. If you feel like you need a little support under your hip, that's where this pillow or blanket would come in handy. So as much support as you feel you need under that hip, just slide the blanket under. And then make your next decision. Come onto your forearms. Maybe drop your head. Strong sensation in the right hip. Kind of settle in and allow yourself to breathe. Nice deep long breaths here. Relax your shoulders. And you may find that after you're here for a while, you could go a little deeper, which I'm going to try. I'm going to keep a block here. And instead of resting my forearms on the block, I'm going to rest my forehead on the block for one more full minute. Make tiny adjustments with your hips. So pull the right hip back a little bit, pull the left hip forward a little. You want to try to keep the hips square to the front without rolling too much onto that right buttocks. So square yourself up a little. And then nothing to do but breathe. If at any point you're feeling pain and you need to come out of the pose a little bit, just lift yourself up. There's our bell, so we'll come right out. Slowly come up. Maybe tripod your fingertips, pull your shoulders back and down, take a nice stretch here. Lifting the heart a bit. And then simply coming back to tabletop. And extending that right leg long, come up onto your toes and just kind of rock forward and back a little bit, just kind of recovering through that right hip. Also getting a nice little calf stretch there, yeah. From here, we're going to pull the left knee forward, right towards the left wrist, and then draw the foot out to the side. Ultimate goal is to get this shin parallel with the front of the mat, so maybe someday. Again, if you feel you need a little support under the hip, take that. 2 minutes here. Take it as deep as feels appropriate for you. Find length in that right leg. Check in, soften your shoulders. Square the hips up a little bit, so take that right hip, draw it forward, draw the left hip back a bit. Keep in mind that there's really no right or wrong in yin. It's just all about allowing gravity to stretch out that area. So it might be a big difference between your right and left hip. I know there is for me. So as long as you're feeling a stretch in your left hip and your left outer thigh, then you're doing it right. Let's go one more full minute. Let's try to find stillness. Tune into your breathing, especially if you're feeling a really strong stretch. Deepening the breath can really kind of help you get through it. Make sure that you're not in pain. And there's our bell. So slowly come up. Maybe tripod the fingers. Lift up, take a nice little stretch here. Pull the shoulders back and down. And then come out of the pose, pulling the left knee back, coming back to tabletop and extending that left leg this time. And just rocking a bit. Press through the heel to get a little calf stretch. And then this time we're going to come right down into Sphinx pose. So onto the forearms and keep the elbows forward of the shoulders to begin with. Lay yourself down, hips to the earth, shoulders back and down. So elbows forward for less of a stretch. Elbows underneath the shoulders for a little more of a stretch. 2 minutes here. I'm actually going to use my blocks and rise up just a little bit more using the blocks, because that's what feels right for me. Experiment with widening your legs today. Keep the shoulders riding down your back. You might even want to experiment with lifting the chin a bit, see how that feels on your neck, or maybe dropping the head a bit. Another option would be to rest your chin in your hands. Just do try to keep the shoulders away from the ears. So try to keep those shoulders riding down your back, especially on the exhalation. One more minute. If you're still not feeling enough, you could take your hands onto the mat and press up with a straight arm to get into seal pose. That's a little much for me, but it might be appropriate for some of you, especially once you've been in the pose for a minute or so. Sometimes you can go deeper. Notice a nice stretch across the front of the abdominals and the work in the back. Remove the props if you've chosen to use them. Come down, all the way down into crocodile. So elbows out to the side. Heels open, big toes touching. Relax here for a minute. Just a few breaths. Bend the knees and windshield wiper the feet from right to left a little bit. Release any tension that might have built up in your low back. And then just rest for just a couple more breaths. One more breath. From here, we're going to come into something called side sphinx. So roll onto your side, stack your hips, extend the legs, stack the knees, stack the feet. You can stay right here if this is enough, you're feeling enough of a stretch in your side body, or come right up onto that hand. This hand's just here for balance. Keep the shoulders back and down. Think about drawing the hip forward a little bit. And the closer your hand is to your hip, the more of a stretch you will feel. So decide what's right for you. The shoulder's going to kind of want to press up into your ear. So you're going to get a bit of a little shoulder stretch here too. And from here, just see if you can find stillness for one more minute. So, you know, just kind of immerse yourself in the sensations of the body and where you're feeling this. So it may not only be in your side body, maybe you're feeling something going on in your back. Keep the shoulder back and down. Follow your breath with your mind, and then try to find stillness. From here, just bring your knees forward, your feet forward. We're going to spin around to the other side. Stack. Actually, take a moment and just lay down on your mat for recovery. Take a cannonball hug. And just a few circles. Hands come to the kneecaps. And just circle around on your low back, one way and then the other. And then find 90 on the legs with the knees stacked right over the hips, ankles directly below the knees, and just kind of windshield wiper these stacked knees from side to side. One more time. And then let yourself come up for the side sphinx on the other side. So again, you can stay on the forearm if that's enough for you. Or come all the way up onto your hands, stack your hips. Let this top hip push forward just a little. And then there you are. If you're not feeling enough, move your hand closer to your hip. Try to keep some nice length here. Everything's stacked up strong. Check in with your brow. Keep your brow soft, your face soft. And we're going to go one more full minute here. Let the exhalation relax your body. So see where you might be holding on. And exhale, just relax. Really want to find your edge here and never be in pain. So if you are feeling any strong pinching or pain someplace, that's not a good thing. You want to feel a strong sensation, a therapeutic stretch without being in pain. And it can be a fine line. So really pay attention to what you're feeling. Exhale and relax. Spin around. This time for recovery, let's sit back into child's pose. You may need to care for your wrist. Widen the knees a little bit and just shift from right to left. Nice. From here, we're going to come back up. Curl the toes under. We're going to do a little foot and wrist work. So knees together. See if you can get all of your toes involved here, even the pinky toe. So manually, you might need to manually adjust them. And then we're going to work on the wrists a little bit too. So widen the fingers, spin the fingers out to the side. That might be enough for you. So it depends on what's going on with your wrist. If you're able to, go ahead and spin the wrists all the way around, fingertips to the knees. And then let the hips get heavy. So this is a really pretty strong stretch on the wrists. So just be aware. Don't go too far with this, especially if you've got a carpal tunnel issue. It's nice to get a strong stretch in that area, but we don't want to re-injure. So just be very aware. If it's too much on your wrists, just lift the hips a little bit and bring the hips off of your feet a little. For more, sink the hips deeper, pull the hips back. Just another 30 seconds or so here. Lift the wrists off the mat a bit and bend the elbows. So now the wrists are straight and we're pressing into the finger pads and into the knuckles of the fingers. The thumb is kind of hanging out. You can get a little pressure there, but so the stretch now is moved into the fingers rather than the wrist. So just hold that till we hear the bell. Sink the hips to get a little more in your feet. Lift the hips to get a little less. And there it is. Release that. Just give your hands and your wrists a little love. Shake them out. And we're going to go one more. If this is too intense on your feet, just release and go the other way. I'm going to try to hang in there. We're now going to go onto the back of the hands. Again, spread the fingers. Press into the back of the hands. Try to straighten the elbows. Same thing here. If you're able to, fingers towards the knees. That's a little too much for me, so I'm going to keep it out to the side with my middle finger touching. Nice wide fingers, and then just try to straighten the elbows a little bit. So it's counter stretch to what we just did. Again, a little more weight in the hips increases the stretch on the feet. Just a couple more breaths here. Nice, release that. Release your toes and sit back on your feet in hero. Care for your hands and your fingers, shake them out. And now just a little extra stretch on the top of your feet. You might want to make a fist here, bring it behind your hips, and then lift the knees up. So the higher you lift your knees, the more stretch you're going to feel on the top of the ankles, the top of the feet. You can actually let your head drop back, get a little neck work in there. Just one more breath. And there it is. Very nice. Grab your blocks. Spin around. Allow yourself to come all the way down onto your back. So we're going to go into a supported bridge pose. I would suggest that you use one block and keep it on the lowest level to begin with. Make sure that your knees are tracking in front of the hips and the ankles in front of the knees. So try not to let your feet or your knees flare out. Walk your feet in a little bit so you can lift the hips and slip the block underneath your hips. So see how that feels? It could be plenty for you. It's a little bit of a back bend. For me, I like to stack 2 blocks. It's nice and comfortable for me, but it might be too much for you. So make your own decision here on what feels right. 2 minutes here. So this is a little bit of a back bend. An option here would be to extend one leg. You could hold there for a while and then rebend and extend the other leg. Or you can extend both legs. So it stretches out the psoas muscle, the hip flexors. It increases the back bend. You can also let your arms come overhead, finding cactus arms or reaching all the way overhead, and just settle in and find stillness for 1 more minute. Check in with your jaw and your brow. Make sure that your face stays soft and relaxed. On every exhalation, let go. Just try to find where you might be holding on. Just let gravity do the work here. Notice what you're thinking about without judging your thoughts in any way. Maybe just let go of that thought and bring your attention back to your breathing. A few more breaths. Two more big breaths here. Last one. Now just bring the arms down. Bend one knee, bringing the foot back to the mat. Bend the other knee. Walk the feet towards your buttocks so that the heels can lift. Lift up the hips, remove the blocks. Lower yourself back down onto the mat and take a cannonball hug. Again, maybe a little rock and roll here. You might even want to tighten it up a bit, lifting the head and shoulders, nose between the knees, shoulders back and down. Release it. Extend the legs long, and you may want to bring some props on this side of your body. Hug the left knee into your chest. And then take your right hand on the outside of that knee and pull the knee over your body. And rest in a reclining twist. As much as you can, try to ground that left shoulder. I'm going to rest my right hand right on my leg, adding a little bit of weight here. And then just try to relax. Try to find stillness. The head can turn to the left here, and this left arm could go up into a cactus arm if that's available to you. On the exhale, try to let go. Try to really let that left shoulder ground. Try to let this knee, the left knee ground down. For some of you, you might not even need blocks here. Maybe your knee easily finds the earth. A few more breaths. Two more deep breaths here. And the last one. Help yourself back to center. Take the blocks to the other side if you think you need them. Extend both legs long. Take a little stretch and then hug the right knee into the chest before pulling that knee over the body, resting it on the earth or on your props. The other arm can go into cactus if that's available to you, or just let it rest. The hand resting on the outside of that knee to give me a little bit more depth. Every exhale, see if you can really let this right shoulder ground down and allow the twist to deepen a little bit. So you might feel a strong sensation in your hip, but maybe you're also feeling something in your shoulders or your back and this reclining twist. Find stillness for one more minute. Notice your breathing. Notice your thoughts without judging yourself in any way. Just notice. You may find yourself getting emotional. That's okay. Just notice it. Always coming back to the breath. Sometimes a lot of frustration yoga. Find yourself fidgeting, that's just the mind's way of distracting you from stillness. Help yourself back to center. Separate the feet about as wide as the mat and windshield wiper the knees from right to left for recovery. Maybe linger on one side. Come center and linger on the other side. Bring the feet back together. Use your forearms to help you come back to a seated position. Spin around. Find your comfortable seated position, whatever that is for you. Bring the shoulders back and down. Find a nice long back here. And we end with one last breath on an inhale. Reach out, reach up. Press the palms. And we end with the word Namaste, my friends.